We won't go any further. We'll talk about the big race on day 4. Talk to me about the Gold Cup, boys. Let's get stuck into one. First of all, top of the market. Nicky's given his word on him. Bobsworth.
The equine cash machine.
The equine cash machine, Bobsworth.
You can't get away from five at Cheltenham, unbeaten. Last year's winner. You know, he has every right to be top of the market, and I think it is going to be this year the top 2 in the betting going for the win. I can't see anything else bar Bobsworth or Silviniaco Conti winning the race. And obviously the big question differs. Was last year if Silviniaco Conti would have stood up, would he have beaten Bobsworth? Would Bobsworth have still won? Who knows? I
mean, that is the question that I do continually pose to people when they talk about the Bobsworth versus Silviniaco Conti this year. But, you know, we can't live in the past. We can't look at that form from a year ago and take too much from it. If you look at what's happened, what's developed so far this year, you know, Silviniaco Conti had a bit of a battle last time out, if you ask me, against Q Card, and whereas Bobsworth seemed to absolutely breeze up round the outside in the Lexus, didn't he? Looking at that form there, Sandy, the last 2 races that they've been involved in, would it be Bobsworth for you?
I actually didn't think Bobsworth was going to win the Lexus.
No.
In running, I was actually thinking he's not going to win this race.
No, I thought it was one of those races where you don't think he's going to win it, but you always know he is going to win it, if you know what I mean.
Like he was going to win the Gold Cup, though, in fact.
No, he didn't.
He's got a turn of pace for a stay.
We watched the replay tonight before we come on, and we're still watching it, and you see when Silviniaco Conti falls, he's still going the best.
Travelling nicely.
But there's no horse that's better than going up that hill than Bobsworth, and he's proven it time and time again now. I am concerned about his yard being underwater, though. Any preparation with that, and you know, 9-4 for a horse that I don't know what. Nicky's facilities are obviously fantastic, but if they are underwater, that's a worry. Yeah,
well, I mean, to not have a Willie Mullins runner supposedly in this race, yet still have an anti-post 7-4 favourite is quite something, though. And you'd imagine that Bobsworth will be the favourite on the day, John. I mean, will you?
Yeah, I think he will be the favourite, but I don't think. Well, you know, he should be favourite, having won last year, but Silviniaco Conti, for me, I mean, at the price 7-2 has to be a decent bet. You know, obviously it's impossible to speculate if he would have won last year, had he not fallen 3 out, but you know, I'm expecting a really bold show from him.
Yeah, well, one would have thought it would have been a close battle anyway.
Absolutely.
The third down on the list at the moment there is one that, you know, might be slightly dubious, is the Philip Fenton last instalment. Could you go about backing that with what's happening? He's obviously he ran a nice race last weekend and won very well there. You know, slightly unsurprisingly, arguably as the second string for Gigginstown. Could you go about backing that, Adam?
For me personally, no, I couldn't. Not just. You know, he's come back from a long layoff, and everyone talks about the bounce factor after. You know, he had his first one back, and he had a nice comeback, and then he won last time. He won. You know, let's be honest, he won comfortably last time.
Yeah.
But could I? It's Cheltenham. For me, it's Cheltenham form in the Gold Cup. Obviously, Bobsworth's solid. 5 out of 5. He stays all day. You know, it's a real slog getting up that hill. That extra 2 furlongs is a real slog, and I'm just not sure about last instalment.
There's a question mark for last instalment straight away. We just don't know at this stage what's going to happen. Obviously, more will come out over the next couple of weeks. Certainly. Of the yard. We've got to touch on Q Card because he won the Betfair Chase. So impressive. And obviously in the King George, he just faltered late on when Silviniaco Conti went past. For me, he stays, Q Card.
Really?
He stays. I believe he stays, and I think he's going to go really close this year, Q Card.
You say really? You're shocked. You're shocked, John. And we'll come back to you again there, Sandy, to fight your corner, fight the Q Card corner. But John, you really? Q Card staying?
Well, you know. Yeah, well, he stayed in the Betfair Chase, but I think this is a different kettle of fish. I think, you know, to get up that hill a bit further in distance, I think you need to stay a bit better than he stayed. I mean, for me, I just think he'll have his work cut out, and you know, yeah, wouldn't be for me.
He went out like a light in the King George, didn't he?
Sorry?
He went out like a light in the King George.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Silviniaco Conti just outstayed him fair and square.
He did on that occasion, but I believe that Q Card's. I believe he stays. For me, if it was Silviniaco Conti was staying on strongly, I don't think he went out like a light. When you go out like a light, you walk on the run. He didn't walk.
I don't think he went out like a light. I think Silvanaco Conti in that race at time looked as though he needed a slap and a tickle as well, and he just looked a little more game on the occasion. Q card certainly does stay. I agree with you there, Sandy, and I'll come back to you for a little bit more knowledge on this Gold Cup.
Well, yeah, I've actually had a bet on the Gold Cup.
Go on.
And it was after his last win. I couldn't help but back him at 25-1, and that is Captain Chris.
How long ago was the bet placed?
I was just about to start talking about Captain Chris.
Are you and maybe other punters at home, will you be jumping on the Captain Chris bandwagon because of the win?
Do you want me to tell you why? I'll tell you why. I think this is, for me, he's better than ever this season. He's been better than ever, and his official mark actually proves that he's now for mark 172. His 2 wins have come on flat right-handed tracks at Ascot and at Kempton. In last year's race he was beaten 35 lengths. Richard Johnson took him wide, and he did violently jump to the right, and he was still there for a very long time, but he wasn't hard on the horse once he was beat. I watched the replay, and he wasn't hard on him. He was obviously never going to win the race. He just jumped so poorly. I'm just begging Richard Johnson gets him on that inside rail, like he does when he goes right-handed at Kempton Ascot. He was off the rail last year. Richard Johnson tuck him right to that rail, and almost so the other horses sort of keep him in from jumping to the right. I think he's got a massive chance.
You can't say that he doesn't go around Cheltenham. This horse has won an Arkle, he's won a novice hurdle. How can he not handle Cheltenham?
Hold on, he's won an Arkle.
Exactly.
Beating Finian's Rainbow, who won the Champion Chase.
Yeah. I think 25-1
So we're all now getting on board, are we?
Well, no.
Okay, the pundits. All right, thank you very much. Obviously, our panel there seems to be getting on the board with Captain Chris.
Well, first things first, Sandy, you've been put in your place well and truly by one of our tweeters. Anthony Amatos tweeted in just to say, what are you talking about? No way. Haydock is not Cheltenham. You're clueless, basically, Sandy, which we already knew. I've got Nigel Pugh, I've got Lee Ball, I've got, Tom McLean, all saying they're on Bobsworth at various prices. One of you's on at 5-1. I don't know when you took that, but you're a braver man than me, because I've obviously neglected to keep an eye on the prices. Keep your best bets for the festival coming in. I've had Andy Hill tell me that Corin Wood is going to win the RSA, which is quite a popular bet as well. I'll hand you back over to Tom.
Now, I don't know if you saw that, but Sam Boswell was magically replaced with a dark horse. If you've got a dark horse for the Cheltenham Gold Cup, an outside bet, let us know. As Sam says, send him a tweet over there, and we'd love to read your views out. I'm going to ship over to Adam Ward for a little bit more of an eye-opener on this Gold Cup. Adam.
I think, the top 2 in the betting will be first and second, in my opinion. If they jump around, they're safe, that's fine. But I think there's definitely value to be had for this 3rd place. Like Sandy says, Captain Chris 25s. But you can not ignore the Giant Bolster, who came back to form last time in the Argento Chase. This horse was 4th in the Gold Cup last year, despite he probably hit every fence, but he was still there at the bottom of the hill. He's in front of Bobsworth turning for home, and the year before that he was only beaten by the brilliance of McCoy on Synchronised.
I believe last time was his Gold Cup.
The thing is, last time he was receiving weight, but he came massively back to form with the hood and the visor.
To reproduce what he done on that day, which was people didn't expect that to come from him. It was a performance out of his skin. To reproduce that would be quite something. I have to say.
For 3rd place at what 25-1, 33-1 places for a 3rd place.
I can see where you're going. We're both going for that.
I can't have him for win purposes, no. But to place, he's already been in the mix-up for the last 2 years. I can see him taking 3rd place again this year.
He has actually, I think he's probably won his 2 career bests in the last 2 Gold Cups.
He comes to life at Cheltenham.
He does, yeah.
So
I agree. I'm the same as you, not for win purposes, but I could see him running a really good race and being there or thereabouts.
3rd or 4th.
I don't think he'll be disgraced or anything.
I'd be worried the headgear won't work again.
I'm just looking down.
I am.
You
worried it won't?
I'm worried.
Why?
What's the worry? The trainer Bridgewater's always been in his camp, hasn't he? He's always been, this is a Gold Cup horse, He's in fair play last time. He's got his credentials to run in the race again.
All right, so we're hearing big things, the Giant Bolster. Maybe if you can just give our viewers at home your quick overall selections for the Gold Cup, please, Adam.
I think obviously for win purposes Bobsworth will win the Gold Cup, but for an each way bet the Giant Bolster.
So Bobsworth and the Giant Bolster each way. Sandy?
I'd say it's between the top two, but I have had a bet on Captain Chris for them each way purposes.
So a Captain Chris each way bet for you. And yourself, John?
Not much between the main protagonists, but for me, Silvini Conti and Captain Chris each way.
And Captain Chris each way too. Well, I'm also in the Silvini Conti group.